This morning I'm talking about clearing the barricade. So, this is a concept I've played around with for a long time, and that is that anytime somebody enters the path to a career, there's always it's easy to get on the path or to pay money to get on the path. Like you can go to school or you can go to a trade school or you can take a class or you can get mentored by somebody. There's always there's a way to get on the path, but there's a lot of people usually on the path. But true success is very rare on any path. So what separates those that are on the path and those that are having tremendous success on the path? So this leads me to this idea that in order for you to have success, you have to clear the barricade. And once you clear the barricade, success comes rather easily. And I could give a million examples to this, but I think every career has a major barricade. And usually the person that knows that career very well will be the one to identify the barricade, but you can identify it yourself. For example, let's say I wanted to start a career in sales because I've gotten enamored by the fact that a lot of rich people started in sales. And so I'm like, gee, I'd love to be in sales, right? I'd love to, get out there and hustle and make money. Well, and it's a great career. But the problem is the major barricade is that in order to be successful at sales, you have to talk to strangers. You have to actually reach out and talk to people you don't know. And a lot of times you're initiating that conversation, which can be a very rough place for some people to be in. They don't want to do this. They're afraid of rejection and fear. So that is you'd be surprised. I've trained and taught and led lots of salespeople, and you'd be surprised how many salespeople are mortally afraid of cold calling people. They'll make up a lot of excuses why cold calling is horrible. You should never do cold calling. They'll come up with a whole bunch of reasons why cold calling is bad. And you're right. Cold calling is probably not that effective, but it is a necessary thing, right? It's like it's like being an alarm salesperson, but unwilling to go door to door. Right? We're selling vacuums and you're unwilling to go door to door. I mean, can you imagine? Like, how could you possibly be successful at door to door sales and not be willing to knock door to door? Well, that's exactly what it is. That is the major barricade, in my opinion. People will fall all over themselves to avoid doing the barricade, to be in the ultimate success. I mean, but any careers like that, writing, for example, a lot of people are enamored by the idea of being an author or a writer because of the notoriety, the success, the accomplishment, the being able to do something you're passionate about, right? But in order to be a good writer, you have to write every day. I mean, you have to get into the habit of absolutely writing every day and loving it and enjoying it. It has to be part of you. You have to just want to write. So you're never going to be successful at being a writer unless you write. And that seems painfully obvious, but it is the barricade, right? It is the number one. And some of them are not so obvious, like being a politician. Like if I wanted to go run for political office, I know what's in my way. And that barricade is fundraising. In order to be a good politician, you have to be an awesome fundraiser. That's just reality. There is no way you will be successful beyond maybe some small local political office without being a fundraiser or having somebody do the fundraising for you. But I would venture to say that every major successful U.S. president for as long as I can remember have been tremendous fundraisers. That is what their first and primary calling in life is fundraising. I mean, love or hate Donald Trump, but I mean, that guy's been raising money since he was like 10, right? Not raising money for politics, but raising money for projects, right? And, some have failed, some have been successful. In fact, a lot of them have failed. But either way, he's always out there raising money for his next project. And that's just the reality, right? Joe Biden was successful, had a successful career in politics for a lot of reasons, but his primary entry point into the world of politics was his ability to raise money. That's just reality. So there's lots of careers you can think of that, there is some major barricade. So you should ask yourself this question. You may have picked a path already. And if you're on that path, ask yourself this question. What is it that I'm unwilling to do? Or what is it I'm afraid to do? Think about that thing that you're afraid to do. Chances are that thing that you were afraid of is the thing that is the barricade to success in your chosen path. And identifying that barricade is really important. But once you've identified it, you've probably identified the thing that cannot be automated. It will not be replaced by machines. AI will not easily solve this problem. Low-cost labor is not going to fix it. So you've found the core element of your profession. So I would pay attention to that, because what inner resistance you have to that is probably the barricade that you have to overcome to be ultimately successful.